Hey everybody, and welcome to week number 9. We are just cooking along here. This week we're going to cover one chapter, and it'll have to do with messaging, promotional messaging, advertising messaging, and talking about how we do some of those types of things and how we structure that, because that is part of what you're going to define for your product in Milestone 4, which isn't due until next week, but it's never too soon to start thinking about that. So I will put out the information about Milestone 4 in the table of contents on our class site early this week, so you get a chance to review and start getting your head around it. Of course, you're going to want to have done the work for the next 2 weeks' chapters before you actually start on that assignment, or get too far into it. So just take a look at that when that comes out. You'll be submitting your Milestone 3 this week by Sunday night. So if you have any questions about that or have any concerns about what you need to do, don't hesitate to reach out to me. Generally speaking, the best thing for us to do is schedule a meeting, a video chat, and we can kind of go over whatever questions that you have and go from there. So good luck with working on Milestone 3. So let's talk about Chapter 11. We start looking at the last of the 4 Ps, which is promotion. And promotion is if you want to really, really generalize it, you might want to think about it as the messaging that you do about your product to your customer. So, and you can think about messaging covers a lot of pretty broad ground. But you have to kind of start with a strategy, and that's what we talk about in Chapter 11. So without further ado, let's take a look at what's in Chapter 11. Actually, I just finished the thought. Because you're going to be working on Milestone 3, I don't have a lot of things out there other than reading Chapter 11 and taking the quiz. There's no external types of content to look at. There's also, so you don't have to do a your take form. And there's no discussion post this week either. So anyway, so I tried to make the week a little lighter because I know it takes a lot. The milestones are work, so I want to give as much time as possible to do that. But let's go ahead and take a look at Chapter 11. So in Chapter 11, you're going to take an overview of what advertising is, why it's important, and then we're going to look at advertising messaging and I want you to think in terms of what do you think is the right methodology for your messaging and the right kind of message you get across. And in doing so, the thing that you would really want to reference is your position statement, as you thought about it, that you did a couple of weeks ago. And that position statement is going to help you decide what actual messaging you're going to do and what's the best way for you to present that messaging in what you produce. And then the last topic we talk about in Chapter 11 is how do you evaluate advertising? And you might say, like, how do you do that? And I can tell you it's an incredible area of growth and change in marketing. Back in the good old days, for those of you who remember the show Mad Men, they would run these huge television advertising campaigns, and they had some pretty flimsy evidence as to how well they really worked or not. And that evolved over time. But now, in today's digital world, where we do a lot of our advertising either linked together into a digital format or strictly in a digital format, there's a lot more information for us to be able to evaluate. And you might say, it's like, well, is it really worth it? Why put all that effort into it? And the answer is, companies can spend an amazing amount of money on advertising. The figure I cite in this announcement is Amazon back, I think they were in the over $10 billion. I can't recall the exact number, but $10 or $13 billion on advertising in a couple of years ago, and that really hasn't gone down. So, $1 billion. I know it's a big company and everything, but that's a lot of money spent on advertising. So, and they're not the only ones. I'm only pointing them out because they're one of the bigger ones. So, you want to have as many effective ways to evaluate your advertising, whether it's really producing what you want it to produce. It starts by having really strong objectives and understanding what you expect to get out of it, and then you can see what of your advertising, which ways to go about doing it really work well. And one of the reasons why the term advertising and marketing get in some cases, people think of them as being interchangeable. It's one and the same thing. I even know companies that have the marketing department is called advertising, even though they do way more than advertising. But, that's what it was named, however many decades ago, and they didn't bother changing it, so they keep calling it advertising. And the reason is, it seems like a lot of the effort and energy is revolving around the function of marketing. Seems like it's spent on advertising. So that's why a lot of times people see them as being interchangeable, but clearly they're not. Advertising is a component of one of the 4 P's of marketing, not even an entire one. So anyway, that's kind of why advertising and marketing get used interchangeably. Okay, so and by the way, the last thing I would tell you about doing advertising evaluation effectiveness, like I said, it's a rapidly evolving field, and if you're interested in learning more about it, the textbook does a nice job talking about how it has been done, I guess would be the way to put it. But if you're interested in looking at it in the future and it's something that might be of interest to you, or you think you might need to know, let me know offline. We'll talk about it. I don't need to confuse all the different things that are going on in that area. I mean, people get master's and doctoral degrees in doing advertising effectiveness, kind of evaluation. So, yeah, it's pretty involved. It gets pretty deep, pretty fast. So, but I'd be happy to discuss that with anybody. So again, this week you're really just reading the chapter. You're doing the chapter quiz, and then you are also getting milestone 3 completed. Under any circumstance, let me know if you have any questions. I'd be happy to answer it for you. And best of luck.